You, everybody, for your time and for joining our back to school webinar. I thought I would start with some introductions, so we will make a start. For those of you joining, hello. I wanted to start with introductions. Basically, my name is Natasha, and I look after the Africa and Middle East regions. You'll also see my colleague Luke, who looks after the rest of the world. We can see many of our partners here already, which is great. For the webinar today, you will see the Q&A chat, and we welcome you to put your questions in there. Luke's going to facilitate that at the end of the session. Of course, we'll do my best to answer all of your questions and follow up any bespoke questions personally after the webinar as well. So yeah, do feel free to use that Q&A chat. For the webinar agenda, we're going to look at the program in a little bit more detail, best practices for implementation, Q&A as well. So yeah, don't forget to pop your questions in the Q&A chat box. And we'll also talk about next steps. So the platform that we're talking about today for Edmentum is Study Island. And so with Study Island, we're going to focus on the admin side of things, how we can support you with your next steps in back to school. So we're going to look at rostering, we're going to look at preferences where you can set different bespoke and just make it a little bit more customized for how you want Study Island to appear and be interactive for not just the teaching staff, but also for your students. We will also talk a little bit about the map upload process. Should anyone have partnership with NWEA, and we'll talk about archiving classes, and then we will talk about creating the new classes, all of that kind of thing, the maintenance of that, setting up yourselves for success in terms of an overview of Study Island, but also how we can really personalize and provide some best practice for you. So when it comes to Study Island, of course, we want to provide you with a demonstration. So I am going to log into my demonstration account so that we can really get a feel for Study Island. So in Study Island, as an admin, you will have this dashboard. My demonstration account is the exact same as yours. And so there's a lot of information coming at us on this page. So I wanted to break it down into bite-sized manageable chunks for us all. So the admin dashboard here in the middle, of course, is showing you the metrics. So for any of you that already have data in there, it's going to look very similar. It's going to have the grade levels on the left, teachers and admins, and it's going to give you logins, how many logins, how much time has been spent in the practice sections, how many questions have been answered, and of course, blue ribbons. That's your mastery. That's how you can identify success and growth and progress. So each of those areas you can pull a report. And there's going to be a running theme today. There's a lot of areas within Study Island where you can pull a report. Okay. Underneath, from the admin page, you will see admin functions, school preferences, teacher permissions, and also student preferences. The first place that we're going to venture into is the rostering. That's always the first port of call. We want to make sure that we are refreshing your student side of things, but also your teacher side of things. Okay. So by clicking into roster management, you have your general tasks where you can set up an easy login, just make it a little bit more simple, specifically for, your younger students. Reset start dates as well. But where we want to go into here is manage users. So for those of you that already have data within the platform, by clicking down here, you'll see grades. This is just going to show you everything that you already have, grade by grade, teacher and admins. Okay. So as an example, if I were to click on the students here that are in third grade, I've got 4 students, and you'll see here across the top, that's how you can move students from third grade into 4th grade. You don't have to do anything else if that's all you're looking to do. Okay. So all you'd need to do is select the students and advance them to the next grade. Very simple, very straightforward. We like that. If you are wanting to deactivate students, anyone that no longer is part of part of the school, part of your centre, no longer need access to Study Island ultimately, you can click on this button here and click deactivate user. Okay. And it's very straightforward from there. You just select yes. Now, that is something that I can repeat for all the grade levels. And if I was to refresh my teacher section, add in a new teacher or deactivate the teacher, it's the same process there as well. You need to reset a password, all of that information. Or if said teacher just needs a prompt in terms of their login credentials, I can email the login information directly to that person. Then they can log in using the information that they will receive. So it's very, very intuitive. Now, if you're wanting to refresh your students, or you're wanting to add new students into the platform, so you've upgraded everybody or you've advanced the grade levels, and you want to add a fresh new round of students, you can do so. I have got here my demonstration or the template for students. It is separate for students and it is separate for teachers. So on the students tab, you will see here all the columns across the top. I've only filled in the mandatory fields. You don't have to fill in everything else. You can if you wish to. You can add in parents, you can add in parent emails, but effectively I'm only adding in the individual reference number for my students and all their username information as well. But what's different here is that you will see grade level and you will see homeroom classes. So you can add students to a class from this template within Study Island. Then when you add the teachers, you can connect the teachers to that class as well. So you kind of do a multitude of things all at once, which can be super helpful. So with this template, you will see it within the platform as well. For example, if I were to click through in this section here, roster management, import a list of users, that's your sample file there that you can utilize. Save the CSV file, and you're going to tell the system, is it students or is it teachers that you're uploading? So from here, you can then browse and input that file. It is going to remove the columns at the top, so the headers, which is something that you do want to do. And then you'll click through into the upload database file. Each step of the way, Study Island is going to check in with you. Are you happy with all these changes? Are there any edits you want to make at those particular points? So I can reassure you right now, you're not going to break the system. Nothing's going to fall over. It's very hard to make a mistake with Study Island because it wants to check in. It wants to make sure that you're happy and confident as you move through the steps. So if you are wondering about the file itself or any requirements, scroll down and it will give you a breakdown of what each of those columns are going to represent within the file. So that's for the student side of things. For the teachers, again, it's stripped back. It's very simple. You can add in your employee numbers if that's something that you want to utilize. But effectively, you're just going to fill in all the information there. Again, you can add the class names, very similar to the homeroom classification from the students. Create the username, create the password. Simple again. And from there, you'll then tell the system, I'm uploading the teachers, and follow through in terms of those next steps. There's nothing more to it. Once you have done that, for the teachers, it may ask you, do you want to directly email all your teaching staff, their login credentials? You've got that option as well. So in terms of upgrading students and advancing the grade of anybody that's already within the platform, it's a very simple process, and you can do that from manage users and selecting the grade. For any students or even teachers that you want to add in fresh, you can utilize the template and use that to do it in bulk. You can add individual users, which is, again, is very straightforward. Just work your way from the top down, giving everyone a username, a password, and here, require user to change password upon first login, meaning If I was to add in a colleague, for example, when I send the credentials, it's immediately going to ask them to update their password. It's a security feature. It's a great idea to do that. You don't have to, but the option is there. At this point as well, you can add in the grade level of student, or you can add in the several options of grade levels for teachers. Now, the reason why it does it for students is because, as we know, Study Island is a platform that's going to provide on-grade learning and on-grade support. So we're specifying this at this point. Okay. Now, for those of you that do have an integration leaning towards NWEA, we've seen this before, system ID number. We want to make sure that that unique reference number for those students that is the same for NWEA is input here in Study Island, so we can connect the data. Okay. So from that point on, for a student, you've got all the other information here that you can add in as well. Now, the reason why it asks if you would like to add parents is because you can email parents directly through Study Island and give updates in regards to reports. You can give them prompts to say your child has a piece of an assignment that needs completing by such and such date. So you can do that from within Study Island. It's a really nice tool for you to be able to do so. So roster management, that's first. The next area that I want to show you is the admin page preferences. Okay, so just going back to the dashboard, you've got your admin functions. Okay, so all of this section here is in regards to statistics, whether you are setting high scores, anything that you do within this section is going to help you to customize and kind of solidify so that you're all on the same page in terms of your goals, in terms of how you want to implement Study Island. So have a little play and see what you like in this section. You will also see school preferences. Okay, this is where we're talking about time spent as a target. So 30 minutes per week is set as default. You can edit and you can adjust this. This will then link to the time spent over here. It's going to help you to really identify, that level of engagement. Scrolling down as well, do you want users to be able to send messages within product? You've also got flashcards as well, where students can have that additional helping hand when it comes to the content that they'll be working through. You've also got your single sign-ons for Microsoft and Google. If you want to enable those, please reach out to myself, reach out to Luke, and we can walk you through those different connections there and give you some guidance. Scrolling back up, you've got teacher permissions. So for those that have teachers that will be interacting with Study Island, you can then set different levels as like a blanket default for everyone. And this will allow you to really drill home and keep everybody on the same page in terms of your goals and the direction you want to take. So we've got timers in here, we've got additional highlighters, building blocks as well. Hover over the question mark, it will give you an explanation of what those are. But just from my perspective, in terms of building blocks, when your students are working through content and you're seeing actually they're struggling a little bit or they may need additional help, the building block is just that. It's going to help to identify and give specific content, suggested content pieces for students to really build up some more confidence and really drill down on their learning. So that's what those building blocks are. You also then have individual teacher permissions where you can enable benchmarking. You can allow them to add users as well. Some schools prefer admins just to control that. If that's the case, you would then just turn that off for said teacher. Okay. We then have student preferences. This is giving you an idea of when students log in, what the interface is for them, what their homepage is going to look like. So for third grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, ninth grade, which are the grades that I have within Study Island, they've all got the same view, which is this animated view. You can change that for each grade level as well. What you can also do when you click into student settings, you can adjust the passing goal. Okay, so if there is a specific US program. So for example, I've got some third grade students. We're focusing on NGSS science. If I were to select the class here, I can then adjust all of these different settings. So it's really about making it a bit more customizable for me, for my students, in terms of being specific on the mastery side of Study Island, blue ribbons. What we can also do is restrict access, make it a little bit, I say harder, make it a little bit more challenging for students in terms of the specific program and content that you want them to focus on. So you can, again, select a class. And from here, do you want to hide grade levels? You know, some students don't want to see what grade level content they're working on, especially if they're maybe from a higher grade level. You can do all of those things as well. You can modify practice sessions and read aloud settings as well. So really jump into this session here, this section, I should say, because it is going to be helpful in terms of your admin preferences and making it work for you. Okay. So from here, as part of the admin functions, you will see that in my demonstration account, I do have the NWEA map link. So for those of you that do have Study Island, but also NWEA, we do, of course, collaborate, and we can upload map data into Study Island. It will generate personalized learning pathways for students, as well as all the other content that sits within Study Island. The process to do this, as you will know, you will need the CSV file of the comprehensive growth file, okay? So everything I'm going to talk you through is all written here as well. Now, you won't need to download the example file. You won't need to edit and adjust any of the data that currently sits within the CSV file, apart from a couple of things, okay? So what I'm saying today is you don't need to download the example file and then be moving data back and forth from two different files. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is when you import the file, you will need to give it a name, of course. So whether that's fall, winter, spring, whether that's grade 3 fall, grade 4 spring, whatever that looks like, so you know what you've input at that point. You will also see all the state standards that we align to as well. It's all here for you, okay? And even if I just open that up and scroll down right to the bottom, you will see Common Core as well, just to give you an idea. We want to map to the system ID number, the SIS key number, because that's what you have included from the roster file, connecting the dots. And then you will import the map file. So you will see here that spring has gone in. We have included on-grade content as well as what need, the gaps that have been identified from the assessment file. And you do have actions here where you can edit the file, you can deactivate the import should you feel actually I don't need to include that for whatever reason, you can download it from there. Okay. So in terms of uploading, you will see active and you will see deactivated. Going back to NWEA, we do link, and I do have some further information here, which I'll talk about in a moment, about the supported subjects and just making sure that you have all the information you need in terms of anybody that only has science or only has math or reading. We'll talk about that in a moment. So rostering, we're done. Admin preferences, feel free to explore those. Let's talk a little bit about classes. Okay, so you want to come over here to Class Manager. As an admin, you will be able to see all classes. You will be able to see any classes that you have maybe been added as a co-owner. From here, I'm just going to use this button and show all classes. Okay, that's where you will see every single class. So remember, from the rostering file, we already created those classes by including the homerooms and attaching the teachers to said homerooms. So it's created those classes for us. I really like that feature. So you will also see me here as a co-owner. Now, in terms of these classes, where Study Island asks a lot more involvement from your teachers, providing content, Some will ask for writing assignments to be marked by your teachers. Not everything is marked by your teaching team, but there is going to be a lot of assignments throughout the academic year, or last academic year, I should say, that we want to clean up, we want to tidy. We don't want everything from last year to follow my students into this year. I don't want to complicate things or have students wondering which item I need to be working on at said point. So we're going from the perspective of starting fresh for the back to school new academic year. So in order to do this, you will see I've got 5 classes here. So I'm going to start with grade 9A. All I would need to do is remove the class. Very simple and to the point. What this will do is it will remove any teacher assignments associated with this class as well. So if you wanted to be specific, you could click this class, you can unenroll students, you can deactivate assignments, you can delete the class. Okay, you've got many different options that you can do all at once at that point. What you can also do is create new classes. So we like to remove the old, start new. So to create a new class, should you not have created it from the rostering file, it's very straightforward. Add a new class, and you will start from the top and work your way down. So you'll give it a name. So for example, you're going to select the subjects that you have available to you. Of course, I want to select them all, so I'm just going to select them all. And then here, I'm the class owner, but I can also add colleagues. It does give you a description here whereby your co-owners they're added as an additional teacher to that class. So it allows you to not have to duplicate classes. What the co-owners can't do is delete. They can't delete or remove content. That's the only thing. So anybody that is an owner that actually, you're seeing, I've made an assignment by mistake, you're the only one that can remove that. Okay, so just make sure you can communicate between the two. Now you can override school preferences, and you can hide the timer if you want to. You can enable the scratch pad if you would like, and then you will add your students. Click the plus and add students. Now, it doesn't have to be, say, like, for example, a homeroom class. You might be creating an intervention group where you've got different students from different grade levels. You can do that too, okay? So we don't like to limit how you utilize your classes and how you group students together, okay? All you would need to do is work your way down and click save. That's it. That's all you need to do to create a class. Now, what you can also see, again, I'm just going to go back to my classes. Now, for grade 3, okay, if I were to click in here and go to class properties, that's where we were looking earlier at some of the adjustments you can make. You've also got class page and assignments. That is where assignments will sit as you move through the year as you're creating content, if you are, okay? You've also got parent notifications. So if you have added in parents and you want to communicate through here, you can do so. And you will see the students there and you can add the parents from there as well. So it's entirely up to you how you would like to use that. So in terms of the class manager, delete the old, create new, or adjust what you already have, because you can still deactivate the assignments within and kind of tidy and clean up that space. Okay. So let's talk about the report side of things. As I mentioned, kind of touched on from the admin page, you've got all these different reports to give you an indication of engagement. Where are we at? Within the reports, the school's report section, you have a whole host of different reports. They all do wonderful things. So I do encourage you to spend some time in here getting familiar with what's going to work for you, because we all have different goals and we all have different visions for how Study Island will work. You will see down here the map report. And I want to be super clear for admins, for teachers as well. This is the only place that you will be able to see what the learning path looks like for students. It is this report. All teachers get access to these school reports, but this is the only place you will see it. I'm going to walk you through what I mean. So an individual student learning path, I've upgraded and uploaded for third grade, as we saw earlier, all students, and it was specifically science only. If I click view report, it is showing me here the student, Bailey, all these different areas within science is what that learning path is built up of. So when your students log in to their own study island from their homepage, they can click into my report and they will see their learning path, the NWEA report learning path, and they can click through into the content from there. So you will be able to track and see what that looks like for students as they're working through the content. So if you specifically want them to focus on MAP, if you specifically want them to focus on teacher assignments that you're working on, you'll be able to track that from there. Okay. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that side of things. Now, from a teacher's perspective, because we do have some admins that will be in that teacher function as well, from the teacher page, this is how it will look. It's got a snapshot of the blue ribbons, that mastery set at default 70%. That time spent, this is where we have set that goal or kept that goal at 30 minutes. Everything your teachers need to know sits here in the class links. If they're adding a new class, if you want them to, advise them where to find it. They have the password list if they need to remind any one of those. And they also have the assignments at this point as well. Where I want to draw all of our attention to next is the best practice part of Study Island. It is a space that I really like. I really enjoy it, which is Sensei. So what is Sensei? For Study Island, there are so many reports, there are so many different areas that you can click into that's going to show you what you need to see. What Sensei does is it combines and it amalgamates it all in one place, so you can see everything in one place. So at the top here, you can be specific in terms of the program you're looking for. For me specifically, I'm looking for third grade science, which is what I've selected. But because I'm a co-owner and an owner of multiple classes, I can click through into different classes at this point. So I'm going to keep it on my class there of students. At the top, you can look at two different metrics, best score or cumulative score. You can look at topics, you can look at standards, and it will show you trends. You can use these dates to edit what you're looking at. I'll just go back to standards. What this is giving me is science in its entirety, and it's showing me where my students have started to practice patterns of motion, but it's also highlighting for me where students are missing specific standards. So immediately I know just by looking at this, if I've only got 5 minutes today to look at Study Island, where do I need to point my attention to? So in that overview, I've got these two red flags, if you want to call it that. Okay. So from here, I can see that these two students didn't reach that 70%. We weren't far off. So what I can do from here in terms of weather patterns is I can directly push this assignment to that student. As a teacher assignment, it's just for them, and I can push that out from here. What it's also going to do is it's going to give you the individual student tiles. So you can see how much time they've spent in Study Island this week versus last. How many blue ribbons have we started to earn out of the possible 18 through the third grade NGSS platform and content? But it's also allowing me to see my teacher page, my school reports, my class manager, also my help center. So I can do everything from Sensei. There are different interfaces that you can utilize at that point. So to recap, we looked at rostering, we looked at the admin page and all the different preferences that you have to make it a bit more bespoke. We looked at the upload process if you do have MAP, but we also looked at classes, how you can archive the old assignments, create new, the teacher page setup, reports. We've actually packed in a lot in today's webinar. So jumping back to the presentation here, I want to talk to you a little bit, just a little bit about the upload process. If you have any further questions in regards to moving through this space, please reach out to myself and Luke, because there are some things that we just need to be mindful of when we're uploading the data. And of course, We all want to make sure that data is uploaded correctly. So do reach out to us and we'll answer all of your questions. So we have come to the end of the walkthrough part of the webinar. So at this point, I'm going to ask my colleague Luke, any questions today for the webinar?
Yeah, we've had quite a few actually come in and quite a few account specific. So I've been answered those separately. So hopefully I've answered those correctly. And again, please do let us know in the chat if not. One of them actually, you kind of touched upon it towards the end with the Sensei. One of the questions was, when would you use Sensei over some of the other reports? Would you make Sensei sort of your main reporting system? Kind of give some sort of advice on how and when you would use Sensei.
Good question. I'm going to be very transparent. I am biased towards Sensei. I would be using Sensei as my main area all day, every day, because it's got those quick links into the different spaces that I need. I can push out assignments straight from the overview page. It's giving me an overview of where my students are at, what level of engagement am I getting, and the topics that we're going to be covering as well. It is completely up to you which one you want to use. I'm just very biased towards Sensei. I love it.
Great. And the other sort of theme of questions was it's great, and it was also in the chat about those that will receive the recording following this. So if you did want to follow along Natasha, what she's gone through in today's webinar, everyone here that is watching the webinar live will receive the recording, as well as those that are unable to attend live. You will also get a link towards this as well to follow. But the other part was, is there any guides? I know we've sent out some Study Island sort of new academic year checklists, but is there any particular area in the platform where they can also get some guides and support and ahead of the new academic year as such?
I'm glad you asked. So within Study Island, there is, of course, our Purple Help Centre button. I like to explain it's pretty much an electronic version of myself and Luke. So any questions, any guidance that you need, it's going to be super helpful. It has had a bit of a revamp as well, which is great. And you've got some getting started resources. You can also check out what's new, but it's also giving you breakdowns of how to. So how to create a class or how to edit users. It's going to walk you through all of those. You've got teacher resources, trackers and rewards. Now, all of this is kind of combined into your getting started resources. You can click through at this point as well. So if I were to show you specifically, everything you need is within this section here. Now, scrolling down, it is going to give you tutorials as well. So it's got videos on each different section if you wanted to break that down again into smaller bite-sized chunks. What it's also got, if I just scroll down a bit further, is test prep. If you need guidance on test prep, if you want parent letters that are already templated for the testing season, we can send those to you as well, or you can pull them out from within Study Island, getting to know features, talking about the specific areas of Study Island, because it's not just one way that you can provide an assignment or one way that you can provide assessment practice. There is a multitude of different ways you can use Study Island. It's really about finding the best fit for you. So I would draw everyone's attention here to the teacher toolkit. It is fabulous. There's so many lesson plans, there's so many virtual labs, so much content in here that you can pull out one time, keep it, and refer back on an unlimited basis. We also have Study Island contests. Now, what I mean by that is you can create your own. We've given you the material to do so. So we've got lots of different things in here. So for example, if I were to click into the toolkit, I love celebrating success. Anybody that knows me, I'm a big believer in that. And so when you have this toolkit here, it's got ideas in terms of how to incentivize your students, how you're going to decide how to create a contest. You guys will know your students much better than we will in terms of, from a personal level. I am very competitive, which Luke will attest to. Doesn't mean I always win, but I'm very competitive. So if we're going to have a contest, it's going to give you some ideas, hints and tips on the best way to do it, how to run the blue ribbon reports or the individual reports that directly align to the contest that you created. And again, how to get the word out there. we've got flyers, we've got badges, we've also got individual trackers for students. You can do it by class, you can do it by student. It's super, super helpful. And then certificates. We all love a certificate. So everything here within the Purple Help Centre, when you're ready to explore it, it's there. So I hope that's helped to answer your question.
And that's everything really from sort of my side in terms of the general themes without being super account specific. But and I'm sure you'll come on to it next. If anyone does obviously have any questions following this webinar, please do get in touch with myself and Natasha.
Fabulous. Thanks, Luke. So in regards to this webinar, I want to thank everyone for joining today. Like we've said, there is no question small or silly. We are welcoming you to reach out to us. Let us know what you're up to. We love to see success. So if you are creating any challenges or you are creating any competitions, you want some guidance or even just to let us know what you're up to, please reach out to us. But yes, thanks everybody for your time and have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.